Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, 4 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. I have the wizard, the one and only, the Norm Farrar, and his sidekick and trusty man boy, Tim Jordan. How we doing, boys?
Pretty good.
What is
man
a man
boy.
boy? I don't even know
But this
what-
is the thing. It's like these. I don't know why. Norm, you always come off well, right? So we mentioned this on the show before, right? So you're doing these superhero things each week, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he ends up being the butt end of everything. Like you end up being the wizard. He ends up being the man boy, or and he ends up being like a little.
or the dunce apprentice, or I know.
Yeah, exactly. You end up getting the shit end of the stick. So I think we need to have a word with your graphic designer and see if we can flip the script. Let's see him dressed as a gimp. And
Well,
the man
you
boy.
got Harry Potter this week,
Yeah, that is true. But even then, he looked like a naughty schoolboy with his hair parted, didn't he? He didn't look like a monster. He didn't look like a superhero. You look better than he did. That's what I mean. So I think the graphic designer is all about you, Norm. And he always ends up getting the rough end of the stick.
I'm paying him though. Like I'm slipping him.
That's
every
the
week.
secret then. Do you pay the graphic designer? Is he on your side of the team? You manage him.
He's on Tim's side.
Right.
He's about
But
20 feet away from Tim
You're
right
like
now.
Puff Daddy. You write the checks, right? You write the checks. So that's what matters. Right. Let's get a quick introduction. And for those who do not know, Tim Jordan, would you like to do an introduction a bit about yourself?
Yeah, e-commerce seller, coach, do some content, partner with Norm with the Private Label Legion Centurion League coaching program, host of the AM PM podcast, all sorts of random stuff in the e-com world.
Excellent. And Norman.
Okay, so I'm a e-com guy. I just match Tim's. Whatever Tim said, I ditto.
Yeah.
But been in Amazon for since about 2014. Have a podcast called Lunch with Norm, and I'm a co-owner of Centurion League and Private Label Legion.
Cool. How's the podcast going? Because you put the grind in. You're over 100 episodes now, aren't you?
160 today.
Superb. That's good.
Yeah. No, it's tough work, and you have to be consistent.
Yeah, that's all it is. Show up every week. Like I always say, and I've been honest with people, there are times where I don't want to do the podcast until it's live and I'm having fun and I'm learning. Like I know I go, oh shit, I've got to get that done today, and I'm putting out fires, phones ringing and everything else. But 4 o'clock on my day outside Sharon and of course Isabella, we go live. Consistency is the key. And then when you do it, you love doing it. But would you agree with me? It can be a grind, and it's like exercise and stuff. Like you have to do mental gymnastics, but once you're there, it's great. You love doing it.
Yeah. I mean, even this week I had or last week I had my first shot.
Yeah.
I was feeling like a bag,
Yeah.
and you had to get on.
Exactly. You got to get on. You got to get it done. That's my little motto now. Get it done every single time. I had my second vax this morning, so I've been neutered properly now. Last time I was in bed for 2 days. This time round, it hasn't caught up with me yet. But normally it's like later on in the day, that little bastard sneaks up on you. That's a problem. Right, Tim, talk to me, sunshine. Last week, Prime Day. Talk to me about some numbers. What did you see? Some patterns, etc.
It's interesting because I have some data sources that we can actually see what's going on.
Yeah, should we share a screen?
And going into Prime Day, Norm and myself, we told everybody, hey, don't get too excited. Like, don't freak out.
Yeah.
Don't do anything crazy. Amazon's telling us increase your PPC bids and do these giveaways and all this crap. And we told everybody slow down, and we talked a lot of reasons about that. And I think that our advice was good because when we look at what happened at Prime Day, I saw 2 major things happen. All right. 2 major headlines. There's a lot more that we could cover, but 2 major things happen. One is Prime Day was a little bit overshadowed by all the other online retailers.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe not overshadowed, but they were competed against by other online retailers because everybody else is doing it at the same time. Whether it's Home Depot or Walmart or whatever it is, everybody else is trying to steal a piece of that thunder. And it kind of worked a little bit because you didn't see a lot of, even the social media, just the non-e-commerce people. Oh, I found this great deal. I found this. It wasn't a big buzz. And the other thing was the things that were really pushed on Amazon, because I poked around, were massive name brands and Amazon's brands themselves.
Yeah.
So as a third-party seller, I don't feel like our products are really represented well. You know, I bought a Samsung TV because I got on and all the ads were like, this TV was 700, it's 299 today. You know, so I bought a TV. But when I started scrolling around looking from a seller's perspective, it was either Amazon Kindle or Amazon Fire or Amazon's own products, or these massive name brands like Samsung or iPhone or Roomba, you know, but there wasn't really much else going on, which is a difference from 3 or 4 years ago, or even 2 years ago when you go to Prime Day and it was like all this crazy cool stuff that you didn't know existed and you're kind of shopping. So I see that Amazon, you know, is supposed to put out some numbers saying they had a really big Prime Day, but
not true. 7%. That 7% growth. I spoke to a former employee last week. We were doing I've got two panels I'm hosting at Prosper. We're sitting down going for a run through, and one of the guys who's going to be on the panel is a former employee of Amazon, and they're spitting feathers because they had a 7% growth, which is terrible for them. They need at least double digits. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that they screwed up. You know, they didn't announce it soon enough. Everybody's got their playbook now, so the other retailers can compete against their own game. And with the logistics and supply chain issues getting stuff in, when they finally announced, hey, Prime Day's in 4 weeks, nobody had any ability to send an extra inventory and get ready for it. So everybody was super conservative. So I think Prime Day was a big situation of crap in the bed. And like I said, Norm and I called it 3 months ago. We said this is going to happen. So I feel a little vindicated we were right, but I hate that Prime Day sucked because a lot of people are really counting on some big sales.
Yeah. Norm, insights from you?
Tim stole all my thunder, but
did you have a joint notepad and you wrote it all down and you just read all the lines in it?
Unfortunately, he just went through it all. Yeah. No, you know, some of the things that we found, day one was better than day two. That Tim, you were saying about Amazon promoting the products. Yeah, is it any wonder why Amazon Fire was the biggest seller, you know, out there again? I hated the fact that we had only, 3-4 weeks to get prepared. And within that 3 or 4 weeks, we had these inventory restrictions now, or storage restrictions. So even if you wanted to get your product out there, now you have to worry about sales declining and product removal because you could get hit. You know, it's not like it was before where, it's easy. Now that they, it's about storage. If you're not keeping up to your sales and you plateau or fall, you might have a small problem on your hands, like just having to remove product from the Amazon warehouse. Yeah. So that kind of sucks.
Did you see anything else in terms of Black Hat this year? Was that anything that stood out for you?
I didn't see. I haven't heard of a lot. I'm sure there was, but I didn't have anybody specifically coming up and saying, I got hit with infringements or anything like that.
Yeah. Every year we would see right before Prime Day, like a bunch of people would get recategorized or, they'd get taken down. Like I didn't see any of that. Now it may be that it happened, but because nobody was really expecting much to happen on Prime Day, it wasn't a big headline. And it may also be that, the people that were doing the Black Hat attacks, they couldn't get inventory in. So what was the point of taking out the competitors? Because they weren't ready to capitalize either.
Good point. I mean, out of a few dozen clients, not one of them, normally I'll get that panicky phone call that they've gone down and the black book comes out to resolve it as best as you can, but none of that this year. Not had any of that whatsoever. Obviously some people had problems with velocity and getting their stock in, but no takedowns, no suspensions, nothing unruly leading up in and around that period. Only the fact that the conversion rate was in the toilet before Prime Day, and we're still seeing some remnants of that afterwards. But I don't think all round, from all the people I spoke to, obviously people had success and stuff, but I don't think it was a killer. It wasn't like, some of the excitement that people talk about. I mean, have you noticed, it's not really been a big fanfare? It's like, Prime Day last week. Normally everyone's pumped, right? But I just didn't get that vibe from this Prime Day. What do you think?
I think sellers are a little bit deflated. Last year, it was a horrible Prime Day for sellers. And what used to be a really great pump up, we got to get this thing going. We have these strategies laid out. and you could, see 100 or 200 or 300% increase more, you get a bump.
Yeah.
So why spend all that money? Why spend the money on, there's the man.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone? How we doing?
These boys killed it. I asked John to jump on last minute as well today because Thrasio just fucking nailed it at the park. I just see the numbers yesterday. So, John, do you want to make everyone choke and tell them how well you guys did? Because it was pretty phenomenal. You've got 125 brands now, and the numbers you've done. So at least there's some winners in the space that are happy. So I'll shut up. I'll let you go through the numbers and quickly say hello to the audience as well, John.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Norm, Tim, Danny, always a pleasure. For us, I mean, I knew the article came out. I haven't checked the exact numbers. The last time I checked, we were just north of 14 million for the two Prime days in sales. For us, it really goes down to, it was over a year of preparation to make sure we were ready for this. Right. And that came down to arranging ranking campaigns prior to Prime Day happening to make sure that our suppliers would be willing to meet demand long term to prepare stock for it. And that, to me, and then obviously dealing with all the IPI issues that everyone else is sort of dealing with to try to move things around to get to our optimal deals. So, I mean, we certainly outperformed the pretty nominal growth of Amazon Prime Day participation, but it was a really long effort. And one thing we certainly learned that was really interesting, when you have sort of deals, it's generally better for conversion to have them closer to expiring or running out of units. We actually found, not universally, but across a good portion of our portfolio, is that when we actually were showing more units and we went the other way, that we were seemingly getting preferential ad placement because Amazon wants to be pushing stuff that's obviously in stock. So I would say that was really the big learning. But preparing for Prime Days is like I said, it's almost a year-long event for us.
Can you give some examples for sellers out there that maybe, because Prime Days come and go and it's like, oh shit, we better get some deals together and get a plan of action. Like you said, you spent a year on this and obviously it's paid dividends. What are some of the key things that you guys were grinding down on and getting the message home to the team saying like, this is what needs to be done? These are the top 3 things for our Prime Day.
Well, I mean, first for us is like we look at our portfolio and we look at the history of products that have done really well on deals.
Yeah.
Whether it's Lightning Deals, Deal of the Days, or whatever, for whatever reason, there's certain products in our portfolio. Our car vacuum is one of them that I think on its best deal of the day did 3.7 million in sales or something close to that. For whatever reason, when you run a deal on this product, people gobble it up, right? So we look across our entire portfolio and looked for sort of like rough proxies, or at least a loose understanding of exactly the types of products that would do well on Prime Day. And then we try to arrange for certain deals to align with the run up to Prime Day. So then we're sort of obviously be prepared long-term for stock. And that's really the long-term planning. So you want to get it in the best organic position possible, have the most deals running, and get your product healthily ranked before Prime Day, and that seems to have a nice long-term impact. But it just comes down to looking where your ease and impact lies, just like with everything else on Amazon, right? So you look at your own personal portfolio, you think about what might work well, you think about your pricing months before and how you want to maintain a reasonable price and discount with coupons, so your deal isn't gonna kill you profit-wise. Drive outside traffic to the appropriate products, so your ranking is improved, and then kind of take it from there.
Yeah. Tim, anything to add here? Did you see? John, you all right if I just quickly pull up some of the numbers?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Let's just get them here. 1 second. Tim, anything you want to add just while I'm searching, so we don't have dry air on the podcast?
I'd be curious to know,
playback.
John, did you guys do any of the big promotional stuff? Like, were you doing massive giveaways, deep discount, rebates, stuff like that? Because Amazon's always pushing us to do those things in Prime Day, and for me, I hate doing those things. I hate just dropping my price for nothing. Did you guys do a lot of that to get that increased boost?
No, I mean, most of our stuff was done with outside traffic or just internal couponing campaigns, right? As opposed to really giveaway activity, because it's not needed where a lot of our products are positioned anyway.
Yep.
But aggressive outside traffic can certainly, an editorial placed at the right time, all that stuff can have a really massive impact. So I agree with you to be cautious with some of those discounting requests.
Yeah.
So, it was posted yesterday on by Jim, good friend of mine who now works for you guys, based in the UK. Thrasio's Prime Day, by the numbers, 60% of Prime Day revenue growth year on year, 10 times higher growth than reported online shopping revenues, over 500,000 happy customers, 750 lightning deals, several number one trending deals, more than 125 Amazon brands. I'm not sure what this bit is. Dozens of puppies were delivered to NYC, Houston, and Boston. Is this a new thing in the company turning into Google, John?
This is a new thing that's out of my purview. So, but we're
one of the woo-woos on the team. We're going to bring the dogs in, and everyone gets to have a cuddle with a dog. That's some serious numbers, though. Well done, well done for that. You're welcome. So, going forward, should we talk a little bit about restock limits and stuff? We've kind of covered this on the show. Tim, merchant fulfilled, we know it counts towards restock limits. Is there anything there where it can help? Do you think that people, if they bring merchant fulfilled in as an option, if they're not doing so already, to actually help raise that? Any strategies there?
I think it would be, I don't know if improper is the right word, but maybe a little irresponsible to make claims that, hey, offering more merchant fulfilled will increase your ability to send an FBA, and like all these things that supposedly affect the way FBA inventory limits are set, because frankly, it changes constantly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to tell people, hey, if you do this and this hack works and this, because it can change tomorrow and then you're screwed, right? You haven't set up the right system. You can't get enough stuff in. So I'm not thinking about like what's working right now on one shipment to get extra sending. I'm thinking like, hey, we need to be prepping for Q4 right now. What do we do? Yeah. And my answer is we don't trust Amazon, because unfortunately, at the speed that Amazon's growing, we thought that like the whole inventory restriction, logistics problem, snafu was going to be short term at the beginning of last year. It just keeps getting worse for most people. It's not getting better. So my advice is become less dependent on FBA, right? And that's a big change from what I would have said a year and a half ago, because I freaking loved it. But when we're thinking about selling products, we use FBA where we can, but we're not going to put ourselves in a position where we're completely screwed if we can't use it. Yeah. I'm telling people right now, start getting qualified for Merchant Fulfilled Prime, right? Yeah. Because what we're seeing is Merchant Fulfilled Prime, you're still getting the Prime badge, all that good stuff. It's tough to get, especially in multiple regions, because if I have one 3PL, like if I'm shipping out of my own warehouse right here in Alabama, right, I'll set my Merchant Fulfilled Prime within like a 6-state area where I know inexpensively I can ship for 2 days, but I'm going to have to get that set up nationwide. So I'm looking at different fulfillment centers like myfbaprep.com. It's a SaaS platform that parks your inventory. And I think right now they're up to 44 warehouses, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out a system where I don't have to depend on actual FBA for Q4. But I'll use it if it's available. And if I can send in more stuff, that's great, but I don't want to be dependent on it.
This quick one that I was just finishing off some slides for a presentation, but something that come across my desk a little while ago, talking about search, find, buy. Have you guys noticed recently emails been sent out by Amazon, misuse of search and browse, which is quite interesting to me, although it's very early doors. I've only seen one of these at the moment, but that could be the end of search, find, buy, depending on the verbiage of Amazon. Norm, John, have you seen anything like this appear?
I've heard rumblings. This is the first I've seen of it, Danny.
Yeah, so I'm only just showing you. This is just like, so I'm not just talking about it. I've only seen one of these, so I'm not saying to people that they should get concerned. But in my experience, and probably same with you guys as well, once you see it once, the groundswell. It was like camel case in the first parts of bullet points. We see that slowly unravel, didn't we? To a point that there was a series of suppression and suspensions until people changed those. So for people listening out there, it's not confirmed as of yet, but misuse of search and browse is now something in Amazon's verbiage to take into consideration. Okay,
Pull that
so
back up, Danny. I want to point something out. And
all right,
I had not seen that letter. I've heard rumblings about this, and this is where something like me and my good friend Isabella will actually bicker a little bit, because I still claim search, find, buy is black hat, right?
Yeah.
Because it is manipulating rank, which we know is black hat. Now, I still do it, or I might still do it. We'll say that.
Yeah.
And I still actually endorse it, because I don't think that it's trackable if you do it the right way, right? But if you look at these bullet points, what's interesting to me is those bottom 4 bullet points: sending packages to addresses where they're shipping it does not order or expect them, soliciting or accepting false or fraudulent orders, placing orders for your own products. This, to me, looks more like this other method that I see that is not like true search, find, buy, but where you set up multiple buyer accounts. So if I have a product, I'll set up multiple buyer accounts with multiple addresses with different like prepaid Visa debit cards, and you just place orders and ship them to random people.
Yeah.
Right. So you can essentially go on like LinkedIn and find people's business addresses and their names and create fake Amazon accounts, buy the stuff from those accounts using VPNs, and have it shipped to someone that wasn't supposed to get it. So it's like creating your own search, find, buy, right, through different accounts and VPNs. That's a little bit more of what that looks like to me here.
Yeah.
Just because those bottom 4 bullet points. I could be wrong.
That's interesting that you said that, because I think it was Friday or Monday, either Wall Street Journal, one of the big papers ran an article about somebody receiving 100 packages over Prime Day. And they just got into it and they started talking about it. If that's what it means, maybe that's why this came out.
Yeah. I just thought, just to alert people, I don't do the skies falling and all that nonsense. But for me, it's like, this is appeared. Take it as you will and read into it as you will, because no one really knows. But it's just a heads up early doors in case there is something down the road that you need to get prepared for in order to adjust to a change. But going back to your point, it's like, I debated this before, and we use PPC in order to help with organic rank. That is still manipulation, regardless if it's by the rules. You don't. Amazon doesn't say, or big old Jeff says, do you know what? Use PPC to rank organically. They don't. It's not there in the terms of service. They don't tell you to do it. We do that as a byproduct, but we're using a recommended source by Amazon that we pay through the nose for in order to achieve those results. But to me, it's still manipulation. But where do you sit with that manipulation? Can you put your head on the pillow at night? Most people can with search, find, buy. It's a bit more risky when it comes to add to cart and stuff like that. Add to cart isn't against terms of service. Yet it's not, the verbiage is not in the terms of service because it's not reached a ubiquitous level. Even though A9, effectively, the biggest continuum of part of that conversion before the sale is add to cart. It's all over the science literature. It's all there. John, I'm not going to ask if you guys do search, find, buy because you're a big, massive company and stuff. What are some of the marketing initiatives that you are working on at the moment that's been quite impactful?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I'll sort of reiterate that we're well aware of the potential impact of outside traffic and the overarching flywheel that just occurs when you have a functional D2C site for our brands that are appropriate to have it. When you have good affiliate relationships and content that's being pushed, when you're doing experimental things, whether it's Snapchat or you're running really heavy Instagram, Facebook traffic, all of those things lead to generally a natural and pretty significant spillover. So just imagine a scenario, take one of our brands like Angry Orange. Someone gets fed their 6th ad they've seen for it. They have dogs. They finally click one of the links on Facebook or Instagram, whatever. They go to the Angry Orange site. A lot of people still aren't comfortable buying things on Shopify if they don't have to. So a certain percentage of those people will open up a tab on Amazon and type in Angry Orange, an organic search, find, buy in its essence. And we've seen the D2C sites that we've launched really sort of exacerbated organic search volume for the brands that we are pushing. And that then leads to rank. And what we focus on is making sure that our D2C sites have a very healthy potential AOV, so we can just push more and more traffic, which then spills over to Amazon. We don't have exact numbers. It's hard to do attribution perfectly, but something like 15 to 50% bump when you have a healthy D2C site on your Amazon performance.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And what kind of scale are we talking about here? Are we talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in terms of spend? Or is it relative, like you can do it with a $2,000 budget per month and get some good traction from that, for instance?
No, I mean, you probably can. We're not really in the business of doing things nominally, right?
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a pretty heavy-handed approach. But before you get in that game, if you're selling a utility product like a spatula, a D2C site's probably not for you. If you have a brand that you can upsell other items, that you can use the email list to go back and try to, have them add more things to their cart.
A bit like one of them, Beast Gear, which is a former client of mine that you guys bought. Yeah.
So and then, so for us, it's really using Shopify's cart and using various plugins to actually get upsells in the cart experience. That to me, so you just have to make sure the numbers make sense. You have to know that your acquisition cost is probably going to be like $20. So your average order value better be like $40 if you're going to, have it work. But for us, it's just like, it's sort of outside traffic, kitchen sink, and every brand's a little bit different. But the more that Amazon recognizes that you're a real brand that people are searching for, generally the better your organic search results become. It's something like that.
Cool. Norm, are you doing anything with outside traffic specifically at the moment?
Biggest thing that we're doing and that I can recommend is influencers. Yeah. Going after nano and micro influencers. If you take a look, like if you can afford it, if you've got a great brand, if you've got the budget, Thrasio, you're probably going after more of the macro or celebrity influencers. Like if you take a look at Snow, what they did over a very short period of time by hiring some really great fighters for their white strips, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, they got out, they exited at $100 million. Joe Martin over at BoxyCharm, Kim Kardashian, pretty big buck. He just sold at $500 million. So if you're looking for traffic, influencers are definitely a way to do it if you do it right. If you get the right influencers.
Doing it right is super important, Norm.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's an affinity really matters. Some people have huge audiences, but they don't convert at all. And the bigger you go for the type of influencer you're getting, the more risk you're going to put on the table, right? For a cash outlay with an unknown return. So if you can find a way to internally scale small influencers, 10,000 followers and below, it's a really safe bet to honestly, quicker contracts. You're not dealing with agents most of the time. Better likely affinity results, but you need to make sure the connection between your product and the person pitching it is real. Otherwise, you can get really mixed or sometimes even really crappy results.
I got one other thing to say to that. And this is something I learned from Paul Baird. Make sure you get a contract who owns the copyright on the influencer's content, because I know he did. I've also had that happen where you think you own it and you don't, and you find out very quickly.
Indeed. Tim, anything you want to add before we go? I think we pretty much covered everything. There wasn't really much to cover. We're meant to be doing a Prime Day show, and it's kind of wandered in different directions. But is there anything you want to add?
Just when it comes to influencers specifically, the small guys are doing a lot of good. Right? Like everybody thinks you have to hire a Kim Kardashian, but there's only a few of those. They're pain in the butts to work with. Like I'm finding a lot more success going after these small nano micro influencers that might only have 5,000 or 6,000 Instagram or TikTok followers, right? But super high engagement. And I can get 10 of those a lot easier than I can get someone with 100,000 followers, and usually better conversion. So think small, because there's a lot of small ones out there so you can scale quickly.
Cool. I'm just going to quickly cover the comments here. Hey guys, look at those Goliaths of e-com podcasting on one screen. I have sweaty palms with excitement. I think you need to relax, Si. But thank you very much. And of course, yeah, because John, you've got your own podcast now as well, haven't you? I was a guest on it a few weeks ago. So yeah, we're all podcasters here by the looks of things. Nia says, and I thought that Norm and Tim would come as Harry Potter and co for the show today. Again, he follows up with many black hat before Prime Day. Many got the hijackers adding keywords to other marketplaces. Gents, anything you want to quickly cover before we say our goodbyes? Starting with you, John.
No, nothing to cover here. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks.
Hopefully, yeah. Fingers crossed that visa's sitting there. The exemption's gone in. I'm just waiting for the phone call now from Mr. Biden's team over in the US, or however it works over that side. But literally, it's a sit and wait. And it might be that the 11th of July, they go yes or no. And if they say yes, I'll book the next flight out. So I'd love to see all you guys. I really, really would. John, you've got an event on as well, haven't you? You've got a Wednesday night, Thrasio thing? Yes,
Wednesday nights. It's an event at the Bellagio at some fancy place. I can't remember the name of it, and we have a fancy name. But if you go on our Thrasio website, there might be a few tickets left. Sign up; they're free, and it should be the who's who of everyone in the space.
Cool. Tim, have you got any events that you're going to be co-hosting, hosting? I know you got some private stuff running, but is there any public stuff you're doing?
Yeah, of course I'll be at the Helium 10 thing Tuesday night at Prosper. I'm helping host an event the same time as Thrasio's called Casino in the Clouds at the top of the Stratosphere. Thursday night we'll have all sorts of different stuff going on, different places, from Rich Goldstein and Chris Schifferling's thing to Paul Barron's got some thing going on with some other folks, and just tons and tons of stuff. But I encourage everybody, even if you just want to get to Vegas and don't want to buy tickets to Prosper, come hang out in some hotel lobbies, because everybody's going to be there. There's going to be great relationships, and just going to be good to see everybody again. Indeed.
Norm, are you going to be able to get across, or are you in full lockdown?
I just got my vaccination, so I'm heading down.
Good man. Cool. All right, guys, going to sign off here. John, best way that people can reach you if they want to reach out to you.
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, john@thraz.io, if you want to reach out to me directly.
Cool. Tim?
Yeah, just the best place really is you can check me out on LinkedIn personally, or go to the Private Label Legion Facebook group and join it and connect with myself and Norm.
Cool. Norm?
Stole my thunder again. Do that. Or listen into Lunch with Norm. Today we have a podcast in a half hour.
It's going to say you're on the other channel, aren't you, in 30 minutes? Make sure you go and check out Norm. Go and check out John's podcast as well, which I think's a Friday. You and Brandon Hendricks.
Yeah, we moved it to Thursdays for the summer. Yeah, Private Label Live, and you can find it on our website as well.
AM, PM, Tim, weekly for you, isn't it? What days do they come out for you?
They drop on Thursdays. Every Thursday, the episode drops.
Cool, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I'll see you again next week. Sharon's back in the chair. Monday will be Isabella. I'll see you Monday and Tuesday of next week. Much love. Take care of your families, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.